This is the pedal Brainz left Brainz bank modes walkthrough. We're in bank 3 Rainbowz, starting out with mode 1 Rainbowz Shift, controlling the expression on a filter, processing some music by Lost Chocolate Lab. Knob number 1 in this mode controls the maximum brightness of the cycling rainbow pattern. As you turn that down, you start to see the pattern that the colors have emerging. Knob number 2 gives you control over the speed of that pattern, how fast it cycles through those different colors. While knob 3 gives you control over the hue of that rainbow spectrum. And that tends to smooth out those peaks and valleys a little bit, bringing a little more consistency to the modulation. So that's mode 1 of Rainbowz Shift. Moving on to mode 2, we've got the Stepz Set mode. And from here you can start to see the steps that are at the core of the Stepz Set mode. Cycles between 4 different brightness steps, with knob 1 giving you control over an amount of delay for the top step, where it will hold that brightness. Knob number 2 giving control over how fast it steps between those brightness steps. And knob number 3 giving you control over a amount of delay when it is on its lowest step setting. So this is mode number 2, Stepz Set. As we move up to mode 3, this is steps random once. This will randomize the brightness settings for each of those 4 steps when you switch to this mode, and it will hold that random setting throughout your stay in mode 3. The controls here give you the ability to set a delay over the first duration, holding that at its maximum brightness. The speed at which it transitions between the random steps, and control over a delay for the 4th duration. That's mode 3, steps random once. Moving on to mode 4, steps random. This will randomize the brightness value for each of those steps as it cycles through, with the same controls controlling the duration of the first step, the speed transitioning between each of the steps, and duration of the 4th step. And that's mode 4, steps random. Mode 5 is the Sawz Set, and this one gives you control over, with knob 1, the maximum brightness, the speed, and the direction of the saw. So we have the speed here, As we begin to scale that back, we can see those steps emerge for a upward step. And as we turned it counterclockwise, those steps go downward, with knob 1 controlling the speed at which it transitions. We turn knob 3 clockwise, we now see the steps going upward with control over the speed using knob 2. And that's mode 5, Sawz Set. Stepping up to mode 6, this is Sawz Random Once. And it selects a random set of steps the first time you step into it, and then modulates between that using the same controls as Sawz Set over the speed of transition, the speed of the wave, and the direction, either counterclockwise, setting it down, or upward in its pattern. That was Sawz Random Once, mode 6. Moving on to mode 7, this is Sawz Random Random, with the same kind of controls, but adding a bit more randomness to where those steps happen. This is mode 7, Sawz Random Random. Moving on to mode 8, this is Rainbowz Squarez, with knob 1 giving you control over the maximum brightness, knob 2 giving you control over the speed of that pattern, and knob 3 giving you the ability to dial in a duration of darkness at the end of that cycling pattern. That's mode 8, Rainbowz Squarez. Mode 9 is Rainbowz Squarez Modulate, and this will take the rainbow square wave and continually speed up and slow it down. And what you have control over is using knob 1, the maximum brightness, knob 2 is the speed, and knob 3 is that duration of darkness in between. And so as that goes faster and faster, we can see how that modulates the rainbow pattern with some controls again over the brightness of it, as well as that duration of darkness in between the repeats. So that's mode 9, Rainbowz Squarez Modulate. The last mode in Bank 3 is the Popz mode. Popz mode, again, giving you control over the maximum brightness in this mode, the speed of popping across the modulation pattern, and using the knob 3, the amount of randomness that is added to it. And this is a wildly cycling randomization pattern that's unpredictable and just brings some really cool patterns to your practice. So this has been the Pedal Brainz Left Brain Bank 3 Rainbowz, expressing the filter applied to some music.